Welcome to the virtual lunch. Today is Friday, January 14th, and this is virtual lunch number 478. Our guest today is Jason Thomas, the Chief Information Officer at Cole, Scott & Kissane in Orlando, and this is part of our continuing series on productivity automation with Xero. We are also joined by Sarah Pitchford, an account executive with Xero, joining to keep Jason honest. Jason, tell us about your background, your role at Cole, Scott & Kissane.
So I started at Cole, Scott 5 years ago. First go at legal. Before that, I worked for an MSP and did a lot of work with small biotech startups, so at least 12, 15 of those, and then did a complete turn to legal. And I swore to myself I would never work for a law firm. And here we are.
Sarah, you've been in legal for a while in a bunch of different roles. How does your focus on productivity automation now align with your prior experience in consulting and in technology?
So I'm lucky enough, I've been in the legal tech space since 1996. And when at FSU, I started out as a receptionist at PC Docs, which is now OpenText. So that's my first step into the legal space. So being on the time and billing side and understanding that conversation and what that looks like and what that sounds like, it was very easy for me to make the pivot and move over to Xero because I understand what it is that we do and how important that is to law firms. And most importantly, I understand the conversations that I'm having with the people that I'm having the conversations with at the firms. What Xero does, understanding how that works and engages with people with their time entry solutions and their billing solutions, it helps me having that background to be able to have that conversation with the people that I'm having conversations with. This is my first time working with a company like Xero. I did run to them when I learned about their technology through some of my other past like mentors and things like that told me you need to really run over to Xero. They're doing some really cool stuff.
As far as time capture goes on emails, we've gone from lawyers at the end of the month looking through Outlook to pick up potential billing opportunities, I'll call them. Now it's all automated. So every day they get a summary of all the emails they've spent X amount of time on, and they can just import them right into Timekeep. I'd rather do that than spend all day looking through my emails, for sure, as a lawyer trying to bill. So it's been big, that side of the productivity side. So productivity, we don't want to confuse that with I save time so I can devote more time to work. You just need to spend time doing nothing sometimes. So I saved a little time here. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to add more work to your plate. I mean, these last couple of years, especially, everyone's burned out and going through a lot of mental fatigue. And if there's a time-saving feature, let's take advantage of it. With the mobile app, so it's actually a replacement application. If you're using iPhone Mail, whatever it is, its own email application, which personally I think is quite superior for a variety of reasons from any other mail app. I'll throw that out there. But there's a timer. As soon as you open an email or compose an email, it turns on a timer. You can do it a few ways. Either if you want just a report of a breakdown of the time you spent on these emails, it'll do that. We use iTimekeep, so there's an automatic draft feature. We don't have that turned on for a couple of reasons, but if you wanted that, it'll create draft entries for you. My boss tells me, hey, when you're introducing something new or you want to do something, he said, Jason, your email doesn't have enough sizzle. That's the word he uses. You got to get folks excited, number one. What's in it for me, right? Is this simply another tool that makes IT's life easier, or is it a tool that's really going to make my life better or easier, number one? Number two, what we saw, especially with the pandemic, was the adoption rate on existing technology at the firm skyrocketed. Now everybody wanted everything. And so I was constantly getting peppered with questions. Hey, do we have this? We have that? Yes. Can we do pre-bills digitally? Yes. Well, you have to here, but all these things were already in existence. Sometimes when opportunity arises, you have to strike while the iron's hot and take advantage of it. So that's where, in the last couple of years especially, I'm constantly sending communications about, hey, by the way, there an email will go out about time and time being due. And oh, by the way, in response to that email, say, hey, if you didn't know, you can capture time through Big Hand, through Timekeep, through the mobile app, through your Apple Watch, through Xero, whatever it is. There's a lot of options here. So you get two options when you can decide when you set up the app initially. Is my filing option going to go to Outlook, or is it going to go to the DMS? You choose. So by default, what we tell folks to do is your filing option should be actually going into iManage, not into Outlook. In remote hybrid, it really forces you to think about, okay, what do I really need here and what I need to be productive? So people ask, and at the end of the day, I find it helps just showing up in person, being in their face. Well, let's talk about this. I mean, emails and phone calls and all that only go so far. The relationships that I have with the partners and associates here at the firm, they're more willing to adopt and even promote technology if the relationship piece is there. At the end of the day, the industry is going to eventually go in a certain direction. And so my job is also to say, hey, look, I get that you like to do it this way, but we're heading here. And if you don't want to get left behind, at least learn how to do it. You don't have to do it today, but know that you have the ability and the option to do it this way so that you're not just all confused and not sure what to do when all the courts are saying you have to do a Zoom now. So now everybody's all about Zoom. Everyone knows how to use it. It's the primary tool for most of our communications. But it was interesting. There wasn't much as far as pushback when we decided to go in that direction. It was actually adopted very well and with a lot of excitement because we were able to do a lot of firsts in the state of Florida with the platform. So which was, we did one of the first appearances in front of an appellate court with Zoom. We were literally the first one to do it. When lockdown happened, we said, hey, you know what's going to be a really great idea? Let's change our time entry system right now, which in general, most people would say was absolute insanity in March of 2020. We pushed the timeline. It was supposed to happen in the summer. And we said, no, let's just do it now. And let's make it easier. There's going to be a little bit of pain now, but I think it'll benefit in the long term because we don't know how long this thing is going to go. And you know what? It was the best decision we ever made, but it was a crazy decision to change time entry systems at the time. As long as you have leadership that's willing to back your decisions, even if they don't like it or disagree with you, my managing partner will never throw me under the bus. He'll tell me it was a bad decision or it wasn't the greatest decision of all. And this is where I would have done things differently, but he's not going to throw me under the bus publicly. He's always got my back. And that's how I am with my team. You mess up, you mess up. It happens to the best of us. And I will take the heat for it. No problem. With the timekeeping, we decided to make the switch. Other than some posters that we put up in all the offices, we did TikTok videos. We cannot go into offices trained, but we can hold training sessions and we can promote the training sessions over Zoom. And hey, here's a little intro. Here's what we're doing. Here's what you'll be able to do. It was great. It connected with people. It wasn't like, hey, this is a new technology that we're introducing and this is what you're going to have to do. Nah, we got a little creative with it. So even with our iManage rollout, when we moved to the cloud, they gave us some ideas, but we did some silly things and silly works. I don't know what to tell you. I ordered 1,000 lifesavers off Amazon and shipped to all the offices and said, hey, iManage is going to be your lifesaver, huh? And I mean, it was terrible. But at the same time, yeah, people were all about the candy. I said, go to the reception desk with your freaking mask on and grab yourself a lifesaver because we're going to save your life. Try a different candy. If the first one flops, try something else. If there's a tool that we have that will make your life easier in general, and if it's even from a personal perspective, then just use the tool, especially if it's something that provides you with unlimited use. So I had an employee, they actually got married last year over Zoom and they asked me if they could use their Zoom. I said, sure, why not? I don't care. 2022 goals I have on a sticky note, and then I taped it to my laptop. Some things you just have to write down. Some things you need on paper. Now, pre-bills, no, it is done digitally and you will do it digitally. We don't give you a paper option because that's just ridiculous.
Jason Thomas, everybody. Great discussion. Thanks to you, Jason. Thanks to Sarah Pitchford for being part of this discussion. Thanks to Xero. This has been such a great series on productivity, automation, and really appreciate everyone's time and what a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much.